All right, today we're going to be talking about the zero product property. Yeah, the zero product property. Oh, going back, sorry, missed that. Zero product property. What does this mean? This actually is a very important property that we're going to use in algebra. As I said, it does lead up to what's called the fundamental theorem of algebra. If I ask you to give me two numbers that have an answer when I multiply them of 0, can you think of two numbers that might multiply to give me 0? An example might be 5 times 0, or 0 times 2, or even 0 times 0. The point is, the only way we get 0 as an answer is if one of them, or both of them, are 0. And this idea will allow us to go ahead and solve problems. Solve our quadratics, or even cubics, quartics, and things of that nature. All these different powers. So let me show you how this works. So these factorings that we've been doing gives us two sets of parentheses. Again, remember, that's a multiplication. And now if that multiplication equals 0, what I can then go ahead and say is that either x minus 2 or 4x minus 1 equals 0. So I have this original one, and I split it. X minus 2 equals 0, or 4x minus 1 equals 0. And notice instead of having a quadratic term, I now have two linears, or ones with just x's. So no more x squareds. Each of these are then easy to solve. So over here, I can go ahead and add 2 to get 2. Here I can add 1 and get 1. And then I have to divide by 4 here, so I get 1/4. So the two possible answers that would work for this are 1/4, because that would make this 0, or 2, which would make this 0. So the answers are 2 and 1/4, and we call them roots, or solutions. Both are acceptable. How about this one? We have s minus 3 and 3s plus 6. So s minus 3 equals 0, add 3, s equals 3. And 3s plus 6, so subtract 6, divide by 3, and we have negative 2. So 3 and negative 2 are different possible answers. Here again, 4d minus 3 and d plus 6. So plus 3 gives us 4d equals 3, divide by 4, and we have 3/4. Over here we subtract 6 and we just get negative 6. So we have 3/4 and negative 6. Well, they're not all unfortunately going to be that easy. Some we're going to have to put into that form. So we have this formula, and we need to go ahead and put it in the correct form. So what are two numbers that multiply to negative 15 that add up to be 2? Well, we have 5 and negative 3. And this is a nice one, so we can go ahead and just write it. Well, once we have it here, we can split it. X plus 5 equals 0, and x minus 3 equals 0, again, using the zero product property. So then we can go ahead and subtract 5 and add 3. And so by using the zero product property, we get negative 5 and 3. Here's another one that we can use the zero product property. But in order to use the zero product property, we have to, of course, make it equal to 0. So to make it equal to 0, we're going to have to take that x and move it over. So now that it's 0, and we can use the zero product property. Before we use the zero product property, we do have to factor it. So negative 20, and it adds up to be negative 1. So we get negative 5 and 4. So we split it x minus 5 and x plus 4. Then by value of the zero product property, x minus 5 equals 0, and x plus 4 equals 0. Add the 5 and minus 4. So we get 5 and negative 4, which is over here. We can even do them with the hard problems. We can use the zero product property to solve these. So still we're going to do the 12 times 5 because it does equal 0, so we can use the zero product property. So 12 times 5 is 60. Has to add up to be 19. We can go through all the different possibilities, but it's 15 and 4. So 12x squared plus 15x plus 4x plus 5. The 12x squared and the 15x is a 3x that we come out with, and a 4x plus 5 is left. Over here, there's nothing in common, so we put a 1 in front and then a 4x plus 5. Putting those together, we got 3x plus 1 and 4x plus 5. Then we can implement the zero product property so that each of these goes ahead and equals 0. 3x plus 1 and 4x plus 5 equals 0. This should have been a minus 1. There's a mistake here. Minus 1 from both of these, and so this should be negative 1/3. And then over here, minus 5 and we get negative 4/5. Again, that's wrong too. It's 5/4. 5's on top and then the 4's on the bottom. Wow, two in the same problem. You can even have something like this one. And again, this one is not equal to 0. In order to use the zero product property, of course, it has to equal 0. So we can't have these over here. So we're going to need to move them over to the other side. So this is the original equation. We're going to have to subtract 3b squared, which is going to give us 15. And we're going to have to add 5, which will give us negative 14. And there it equals 0, which is what we need for a zero product property. So then what are the two numbers that multiply to give us 4 and adds up to be negative 14 is negative 20 and 6. Factoring them, 5b and then 2 over here. Again, those are the same, 3b minus 4. So 5b plus 2 and 3b minus 4 equals 0 using the zero product property. We go ahead and change it to 5b plus 2 equals 0 or 3b minus 4 equals 0. Again, zero product property. Subtracting the 2, we get minus 2. Adding the 4, we should have put the 4 over here. Then we divide by 5, and so we get negative 2/5, and we divide by 3, and we get 4/3. So those are my two answers. We can even do the zero product property with difference of squares that we just went ahead and dealt with. So we want to know when that y value is 0, so we set it equal to 0. And so it's m squared minus 81. And again, this is a binomial. So to factor it, we're looking to see, since it's a minus, if it's going ahead and being a difference of squares. So remember those numbers we had? 81 is one of them, 9 and 9. M becomes just m. M squared becomes just m and m. So m minus 9 and m plus 9. Zero product property allows us to split these up. X minus 9, which gives us 9. X plus 9, which gives us negative 9. These are my two answers. They said which one of these is the answer. The only one that's up there is that negative 9. X squared plus 8x equals negative 12. Again, we have to move the 12 over. We don't want it to equal 12. We want it to equal 0. Or you guessed it, the zero product property. Factoring it, we get x plus 2 and x plus 6. X plus zero product property splits this. X plus 2 equals 0. X plus 6 equals 0. We get negative 2 and negative 6 for our answer here. And we got one more. Now notice this one is a binomial, so we should be looking to go ahead and do that difference of squares to factor it. And 25 and 9 are perfect, but if you remember, these are not even. So we have to take an x out. And when I take an x out, there's no more x's here, but this is x squared. Now that's even, so I can split it. Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 9 is 3. So we have the x, 5x plus 3, and the 5x minus 3. And notice I actually have 3 different from the zero product property. You can have 3, 4, 5, however many things you're multiplying together. The zero product property allows you to split them all up, making it a lot easier. We had an x to the third, so we're going to get 3 different answers here. An x, whatever this one is, and whatever this one is. And that's fine. That's great. Zero product property allows us to do all of those. So minus 3, 5x equals negative 3, so x equals negative 3/5. Plus 3, 5x equals 3, and x equals 3/5. So we have 0 from here, negative 3/5, and positive 3/5, which is B. And that's what I have for you today.